looking different and being different is very difficult in middle school and high school. I have a high schooler, and I just don't think that they should be discriminated against, made fun of, especially in this day of social media where everything that kids do is posted online. And they are made fun of, and when they're made fun of online, it is done in a way that you don't have to see what's being said. You don't have to see the effect that it's having on your children or the person that it's being said to. And so just to keep that in mind, to not have discrimination going on in our schools. I also think that if our education system is in the 40s in the nation, we should be focusing on teaching them the basics, the reading, writing, arithmetic, science. I do think like there is a small portion of the critical race theory that's important, but that should not be our main discussion here. Our main discussion should be, how do we educate our children more? How do we get our children in Oregon to be #1 in the nation instead of in the 40s? That is just ridiculous. And then as far as online learning goes, doing everything on a computer sucks. Like, I tried to help my kid with math last year. On a computer, it's ridiculous. Pen and paper needs to be brought back into the schools. They need to learn how to go to a library and look up a book. I know this day and age is everything about digital, and we do need to honor that, but we also need to go back to some pen and paper. And then as far as the digital thing, we should be spending more time teaching them social citizenship for the digital age, to be nice and kind.
Thank you. Try to do a little deal with everybody. So if you signed up but you feel like what you wanted to talk about was covered, maybe you could just do a real quick here, or you can pass, or you could say, I want to be someone to speak at the next go round of this. So it's just an option. Okay, Elizabeth and then Kate Batterson. Oh, hi, you're right there.
Hi, yes. Hi. I'm actually going to scrap what I was originally talking about because there's been a few issues that come up that I want to address. One, I've been called a white supremacist. Nobody knows my life prior to coming to Oregon. I grew up in Connecticut outside of Hartford, in a suburb. I went to college in the middle of Boston at Lesley College for Women, experienced gays for the first time in my life. I student taught in Josiah Quincy Elementary in Boston, inner city. I was the minority. I had to be driven back and forth to my placement at that school because it was dangerous for me to take the T. As an adult, I chose to run a migrant Head Start program here in Madras. I lived and died by protecting those kids who aren't citizens in this country and their parents to make sure that they were healthy and okay. I went back to the East Coast for a few years so my kids would know their parents. My 2 children were so far behind in school, it wasn't funny. My son had missed 2 years of mathematics. He'd missed the United States 100%. He was in 4th grade when we moved. He was so far behind, it took me 3 years of tutoring him to get him caught up to the curriculum on the East Coast. My daughter, I pulled out of school in 6th grade because the school was no longer offering gifted and talented programs. They put her in an 8th grade classroom with 6th grade, or she was 6th grade, they put her in 8th grade classrooms. She had 5 sets of stitches from being beat up, tripped, hit with balls in the head, just off of cameras. I homeschooled her through middle school. We moved back here again when she would have been in 8th grade. We tried to put her in school. You don't want to know what happened. The school district wanted her to walk to the high school for her geometry because they only offered pre-algebra. That's not okay. And I just want to say that masking and vaccines are personal choices, not something the schools need to be doing.
Thank you.
So,
don't call me a white supremacist. At University of New Hampshire and Keene State College, I taught diversity, and I won an award for pluralism and diversity from the University of New Hampshire.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, Kate. Is Kate still here? Kate, do you want to address the board leadership? Okay, Kate snuck out. Rob. Thanks, Rob. You stuck it out. Thanks, Rob.
I need to raise this thing because that's not even right. This
Use your-
isn't fair.
You could just use your
This is
baritone
not
voice.
fair, though. It's about being fair. All right. My name is Rob Imhoff. I'm born and raised Oregonian, living in Central Oregon since 2005. I feel like I have a vested interest in our nation, state, county, city, and schools. I've coached basketball, football, baseball, and golf for over 20 years at all different levels through high school varsity, and most of my adult life has been involved in full-time and volunteer youth work. I've got 3 boys that are 12 to 25, and I've got 2 grandkids that are 6 and 8. So I have a little bit at stake. I came to specifically address the mask requirement, but I'm going to address CRT initially, as well as any other racially focused study, which at its core divides each of us based on the racial composition of each and every one of us. To be an American is not inclusive or exclusive to any specific race. It's an idea which includes all races. It's a belief and system of ideas that millions of Americans of all colors have both fought and given the ultimate sacrifice to defend. To oversimplify people down to how we look flies in the face of the progress we've made as a people, as well as where we intend to go. To simplify any American through their race ultimately creates division. I have many brothers and sisters from about every race and color. To train our children to filter and define their worth through the lens and curriculum of CRT and social justice or any other prioritizing ethnic study is to minimize their actual value. We should be searching for the content of a person's character, not the color of their skin. Equality is not equity. Equal opportunity to succeed versus redistributing livelihoods through taxing, from those who earn to give to those who don't. This is called socialism. I can stand up and discuss with you about the efficacy of masks, and we would likely debate and disagree all night, because the truth is the science is not settled. What I think we can agree on is that masks, specifically when put on children, have many unintended negative consequences. Some examples being respiratory dysfunction, including secondary infection, lack of peer-to-peer interactions, diminished self-worth, and a stifling and elimination of most of their nonverbal communications, something as simple as a smile. I'll finish with this. Those who are willing to trade their liberty for security deserve neither. I promise to fight for your liberty and your freedom, and I'm asking that you do the same for my kids and my family here in Central Oregon.
Thank you. Wendy Knowles, are you still here? Oh, hi, Wendy. Everyone that's close, I'm like looking way up there. Hi.
I'm Wendy Knowles, and I just thought this letter pertained to this evening. It's from Dr. Sarah Johnson from Crook County, and it
Scoochie
was
a tiny bit over. Sorry.
it was okay.
That's really good.
It's dear valued parents. Crook County School District was surprised to learn of Governor Kate Brown's mask mandate today for Oregon Public Schools after she announced in late June that all future decisions about COVID-19 protocols would be decided at the local level. Since the beginning of July, our school district has served over 1,000 students in the largest summer school program in the region. Students have been in school without masks. Let me repeat that, without masks. And we've reported no, let me repeat that again, no outbreaks or spread of the virus. This is why I fully support the opportunity to make our own decisions based on what's happening with the virus at the local, based on what's happening with the virus at the local level and develop COVID-19 safety plans with our incredible partners at the Crook County Health Department. My goal, hang on, I have to.
45, you're doing good.
Okay. My goal is to allow staff and families to make their own health decisions about masks while also fully supporting anyone who wants to wear one for their own protection. We also offer 2 robust online programs, Crook County Online Option and Grizzly Mountain HomeLink, for families who have concerns about COVID-19. I'm determined to retain local control decision-making that is in the best interest of our community and Crook County School District. Warm regards, Dr. Sarah E. Johnson. And for me, I would like to get rid of the CRT, and I would like to bring the Bible and Jesus back into our schools, because you know what? When that disappeared, this all started to fall apart. So bring Jesus back.
Thank you.
And the 10 Commandments.
Okay, Becky. Becky, are you here? Becky has Black Classman. Thanks. Thanks, Becky. Okay, a reminder while everyone's coming up here, we're trying to record this and we will get it out to you somehow.
My name is Becky Plassman. I'm a professor at Central Oregon Community College, where I have taught Ben Lapine School graduates for the last 26 years, as well as working with current high school students and teachers. I have also taught at both the elementary and high school levels. I would like to express my support for the current school board, recently elected by the majority of Central Oregon voters. Specifically, I would like to thank Marcus for all he has personally done for my students when they need help with housing, food, and other emergencies that interfere with their education. If in the fall, masks are recommended for students and staff by the Oregon Health Authority, then the schools must follow and enforce that science-based advice, which is intended to keep our students safe, healthy,
Becky, you can
and
give me
in the
everybody.
classroom learning. Our schools should continue to provide a fact-based curriculum, providing our students with a nuanced and robust view of the complex world we all live in. The injustices of our past and our present are appropriate and necessary parts of everyone's learning, both children and adults. Teachers and students must be allowed to examine the world unrestricted by people who would prefer to pretend that difficult conversations about racial and social injustice do not belong in schools. In response to those emphasizing their constitutional liberties without their constitutional responsibilities,
Wait, you look at
5
me, mirror
words
the
from
board.
the US Constitution: we the people, in order to promote the general welfare.
Thank you, Becky. Okay, Chris.
What's the last name?
You said you want to talk about everything. Is that you? Oh boy. Oh boy. All right, you got 2 minutes, Chris.
All right. So I didn't come very prepared, but I just like to say I graduated high school in 2013, and a couple things that my high school failed to teach me was how to balance a checkbook, apply for a business loan, how to budget, how to work credit cards, and how to start my own business. So do I think you guys are prepared to teach my child about race? I really don't think we're there yet. So I think it's a good idea, but I think we're a little premature on that. I think right now that's being introduced because you guys are trying to appease a very radical left side. And I think we need to just kind of take into consideration that there's a lot of different educational standards that we haven't met yet. That's about it.
I think anytime Chris wants to talk about everything, you guys should let him. That was very succinct. Thank you. Okay, Greg. I had to put my reading glasses on for you, Greg. You have like architect printing. Yeah? No, that's not it. Looks like an architect or something.
Yeah, I'm a former high school teacher from Los Angeles who's part of the chain migration up here as grandparents working with and helping support our daughter and our grandchildren. I thought when I was in high school that most kids around me were terribly bored, and I felt very sorry for them because it was, for me, interesting. We were studying geometry and we were studying theorems and postulates, how to prove things. So we had a different kind of education even back then, but geometry was probably the only course in which it wasn't a matter of indoctrination, it was just a matter of process. We knew that it was indoctrination, and we weren't very interested in that, and it was sad. And I grew up in the suburbs, largely, So we had one black family in one suburb, one black family. It was
Right.
like, where's Waldo?
Thank
Didn't
you for
see them.
addressing these guys.
So,
Thanks, Greg.
but I'm sorry, are we?
Would you, no, you're good. Just if
Oh,
you want to
good,
address
thank you.
if you just want to address board leadership.
I just want to say that I came to Los Angeles. I'm working in inner city schools. And I think I know something. And I don't. And nor do most of the others. We are learning on the job just like parents learn on the job. There needs to be more parent involvement in the school, more family involvement in the school, and more opportunity for kids to be directing their own learning through independent reading. And I think that what we're all afraid of is that one side wants to indoctrinate the other side. And frankly, education, for the most part, is indoctrination when it's top down. And it can go wrong even when people have their best interests in mind, and certainly I did, but I'd hate to tell you all the mistakes that I made. But I think that it's really important that we allow kids to direct their own education to a certain extent and have the support of teachers and how to do that, and more independent reading and more training of parents in how to help their children in school, and maybe some childcare.
Thank you. Welcome to Central Oregon. All right, Jackie.
No, she already went.
What? Oh, little Jackie. She's amazing. Esme, singer? Esme. And then, in case you guys are wondering, we have 5 more people signed up, so you guys are phenomenal. Thank you for sticking around.
I'm Esme Singer. I think I'm one of the few voters here who, went through the K through 12 system, all through the Bend the Pine district. And I first want to say something about like bringing Jesus back in school. I respect religions, and I do not care what religion you are, but I do feel it's disrespectful and alienating to those of us who aren't Christian to say that type of thing. Sorry. But I just want to say, while I was in this school district, I had friends and myself be discriminated against, called slurs. And so I think, if anything, we need to teach more about racism and like how to be anti-racist than we ever did, like still now. I don't think it's enough. Also, I want to define like critical race theory, because I feel like a lot of people don't actually know what it means. So is the theory that racism will not fade out on its own.